Today we have a guest with us, Tatenda Bindura. This lady is amazing. She's achieved what many people would love to achieve. She has lost 25 kgs. We just want to hear a bit about her story. So, Kubatana Together As One, can you help welcome Tatenda Bindura to our platform? Tatenda, welcome, and over
Thank you
to
so
you.
much. Thank you so much, Kubatana Together As One. I really appreciate the opportunity really just to share my story. Obviously, I'm fully aware that there are so many personal trainers out there, so many people who are into nutrition who could, really teach a lot on the topic. But sometimes I personally learn better from a story that's relatable to me. If someone who is like me speaks to me, who's been through the struggles that I've been through, I'm more likely to listen than sometimes an expert who it's their passion, it's what they do, it's what they're good at. Sometimes it's not as relatable as when, the ordinary person just speaks to you. So I like to think of myself as the ordinary person who happened to lose 25 pounds through what I feel is the most effective way to lose weight. And that's really just eating healthy. So I don't advocate for any diet or any pills or any surgery. It's really just doing the natural thing for your natural body. Um, so I'm hoping really to be able to share a bit of that with you. But just to give you a little bit of background. So my name is Tatenda Bindura. I was born in Zimbabwe, and I was born pretty much a chubby baby. I've never been tiny. I was a chubby baby, chubby child into chubby teenager. And then I had babies and got even bigger as an adult. I can't say I was miserable, but I definitely knew that my weight made me uncomfortable. So it's not like I was struggling with self-love, but I knew that it could be better. Obviously, you criticize yourself, and there is nothing worse than loving clothes, but not being able to wear exactly what you want, because obviously I want to dress for my size too. I don't want to look inappropriate. And I thought, how well, wouldn't it be nice to get into some of those clothes that I pick up and then I know that I'm not exactly comfortable wearing them? And don't get me wrong, I tried lots of different diets. So I'm not bashing diets. And neither am I not acknowledging that they work. Do diets work? Yes. But I think it's a personal opinion, but I think they give you a very bad relationship with food. You begin to see certain food items as the enemy. And you think, I can't eat this. If there's a word I don't like, it's I can't. I can't eat this. I can't eat that. I can't eat this, and I can't eat that. But I really don't think that's the purpose of food. Food is there to be enjoyed. But of course, there's a decision making and a responsibility that comes with what we eat. So it's not, so the first thing I want to say, is I hope that today I can teach you that the word I can't eat this makes you develop a bad relationship with food. It's not that you can't eat it. It's what are you eating? How much of it are you eating? How regularly are you eating it? That's why the word treat exists. Some things are just meant to be for treats. It's not an everyday item. So yeah, so if you think of food that way, anything is, if it's food, I don't see why you can't eat it. But you know that if you eat ice cream every single day, it's going to have its side effects.
Yeah.
And also know that if you eat lots of vegetables every single day, they have their benefits. It doesn't mean that you got to eat vegetables all the time and never eat ice cream. There's no I can't and there's no never. It's about moderation. It's about decision making. It's about staying in control. It's about thinking before you put something in your mouth. So that's what I'm hoping to share with you today, really.
Oh,
So
that's
that's the short
lovely.
introduction.
We're looking forward to it. So when did you realize you wanted to change? What started your journey?
Okay, so if I can just give you a little bit of background on what started my journey started a very long time ago. Like I said, I've always been chubby, so I've always been aware of it. And I moved from Zimbabwe to the United Kingdom when I was 12 years old. And I was sent to a boarding school. And it was a beautiful experience, except for that, it made me really realize just how big I was. And you would think that at that point I would have fixed it, but actually I turned to food for comfort for how I felt. So I then just got bigger. It may not make sense, but to somebody who's an emotional eater, they will understand that sometimes your emotions can actually lead you to eat, even though what gave you the emotions, the negative emotions in the first place, is weight. So when I went to school, I realized, first of all, I had a very different shape, figure to most of my peers. I went to an international school. It was mostly a lot of Asian people, and they're quite small. You know, a lot of Chinese people are generally quite small. And my white friends were very skinny, no hips, no, you know, what's behind. And there I was with a big bum and big hips, and all I wanted to do was to shave everything off, but that was impossible. Um, so I would go on like fad diets, quick diets. I'm going on a diet for 2 weeks, and that meant denial. Like I said, I introduced the word "I can't eat this" into my life. That's where my journey began. It began with telling myself, I can't eat this because I'm trying to lose weight. So I would go on a fat diet that would say, don't eat carbohydrates, don't eat this, don't drink this, don't do this. And would I lose weight? Yes, every time. But by the end of 2, 3, 4 weeks, I'm utterly miserable. And the day I can't take it anymore, I would eat a lot and put all the weight back on again, plus more. If anybody has ever been on a diet, they know that as soon as you quit that diet, the weight is coming back plus a little bit more, and it sucks. So you don't tell yourself at that point that diets don't work. You just tell yourself, this diet doesn't work, so I'm going to try a different one. So you go back to the same cycle over and over and over, and you can actually go through years of just continuously being on different diets, losing weight. Everyone goes, wow, you look great, you've lost so much weight. 2 months later, they're like, oh, you've put on a bit of weight. If something is painful, you will not continue to do it. Come on, ladies, think about this. You wear a pair of heels and you look so good. And halfway through a party, you convince yourself that I don't care. I'm going to take the shoes off because I can't take it anymore.
True.
It's the same thing with the diet. When you can't take it anymore, you will come off it. Simple.
True.
But yeah, I think about 2 years ago is really when I decided that I wasn't really good at diets. So maybe I should just try healthy eating. Maybe I should just go back to basics. So I thought to myself, isn't it weird that in I know you people would find this a bit weird, but in poorer countries, people tend to be slimmer than, I want to say, in the Western world. And I thought, well, what do we do different other than the fact that we have availability to food very differently? I thought to myself, they eat the simple things, your fruits, vegetables, grains, they drink water, that's it. And once in a while, they may have the luxury of eating some KFC. Once in a while, they may have the luxury of eating an ice cream. What makes people do it differently when they now can afford or have access to more? You know, we start to make really bad decisions. But otherwise, I think as God intended it, we were just meant to eat the basic things, your fruits, your vegetables, your meat, your grains, your legumes. And pretty much that's it. So anything else should be in that category that I talked about earlier that we call treats. Anything else. We were meant to drink water.
True.
But you will find that you wake up in the morning and you have a glass of what you think is orange juice. I actually had this conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and they said to me, "Oh, I drink orange juice in the morning. It's really healthy. It says 100% orange juice." And I said to my friend, "I want you to go and buy 5 oranges and squeeze them tomorrow. I want you to tell me if the juice from your 5 oranges looks the same as the carton of orange juice you're drinking." It doesn't.
Not the same, yeah.
It's not. So
Mm.
don't even kid yourself and think that if you wake up to a glass of orange juice, you're having fruits. If you
Mm.
want to have fruits, eat fruits. If you want to have orange juice, learn to squeeze your own oranges, learn to squeeze your own apples, whatever it is that you want to have. Because anything in a carton, they have to add things to it for it to last long.
True.
So you're then having so many added things, but all you really wanted was orange juice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's what they sell us, isn't we just swallow everything that's told to us by the
Yeah,
shop. Yeah, in the shop
yeah.
people. Yeah.
So your best drink is something like water, or if you're gonna have tea, you know what's in it. You know that it's a tea bag and it's water and whatever it is that you choose to add to it. So be as natural as possible. I love to have smoothies, vegetables smoothies, but I know that if I buy a store-bought smoothie, it has
Mm.
far more than what I bargained for. So
True.
while I'm thinking I'm drinking a smoothie, I'm actually just drinking a whole lot of sugar, to be honest.
And it's more expensive as well. Mm.
It's far more expensive than buying vegetables. And with vegetables and fruits, you can buy them. The good thing about a smoothie, it doesn't require fresh ingredients, as in, you can buy frozen fruits and vegetables
Mm.
and blend those. They actually taste better because then, the smoothie is nice and cold because you're using frozen vegetables and frozen fruits.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I started my journey by going back to the basics. I just went back to what did people eat in the olden times when they were not so big? They ate fruits, they ate vegetables, they ate meat, they ate things that they farmed. So if what you're eating has more than 1, 2 ingredients, ask yourself, what is it? Because if you're going to eat an apple, should just be an apple.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you buy something from a shop that has a whole list of ingredients,
Mm.
that might be a bit of a problem. Once in a while, remember I said, I'm not introducing the word can't or never. Once in a
Mm.
while, it's fine. But for the majority of your time, try and eat foods that are natural.
Mm.
That when you look at it, you don't have to read ingredients to see what it is. It is clear what
Mm.
it is from just looking at it with your eyes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Would you mind telling us typically what you eat, for breakfast and lunch and dinner?
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So initially, when I started my journey, I would meal prep, and I really believe in meal prepping.
Mm.
And I always say, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. If you wake up in the morning and you don't know what you want to eat, the chances is you will end up eating things that you shouldn't be because they're quicker. So let's say I wake up in the morning and I don't know what to eat. It's so much easier to eat cereal and bread, and because it's quick.
Mm.
But perhaps if I thought it through before, I would have prepared myself something, or I would make sure I have the ingredients to eat something that I really want. So typically in the mornings, I tend to either have a fat-free yogurt with some fruit, or if I want to cook breakfast, there's nothing wrong with a cooked breakfast. Remember I said, it's not about can't or never. It's about how you do it. So if you want to eat a cooked breakfast, just think about this. If you had an egg on your plate, eggs are good for you. And then if you could have mushrooms and tomatoes and asparagus and spinach, these are all vegetables. but the way it looks on your plate is so pretty. And then, maybe with the meat, you can decide I'll just have one sausage. So the idea is fill your plate with so much vegetable that it looks full. And then the other things, just add a little bit. So if just have maybe one slice of bread instead of 4 slices of bread. Because like I said, when it comes to, if you look at bread, it has more than one ingredient. In actual fact, it has lots. And anything that has lots of ingredients is less likely to be healthy for you than the other things I mentioned, like an egg, some spinach, a tomato, some mushrooms. It's things that you know. And then if you think of meat, a sausage has a list of ingredients because there's no meat called sausage. If you think about it, like it's a mixture of many things. But if you actually swap it for a piece of chicken or some beef, be careful of meat that meats like sausages and anything that comes out of a can or a tin. It's no longer in its natural state.
True.
If you look at a piece of chicken, there's no question about it. It's a piece of chicken. If you open a container, you have to look at ingredients to know what's in it.
Do you go for the organic, or for the chicken free range? Do you choose what chicken you have?
I really want to be able to say eat organic all the time, but I can't afford it, to be honest. I cannot afford it. So, like I said, it's about making decisions with what you're able to afford. I would love to eat organic everything, but I know that my pocket doesn't allow it. So what I do is I eat what I can afford. So that definitely means a mixture of, do you know that sometimes organic fruits and veg are actually cheaper than the GMO ones? Because if you buy something, let's say when it's reduced, it can actually be cheaper than the full price of the stuff that's not on sale.
Okay.
So be happy to bargain hunt. I like to go to the shops late in the evening when everything is being slashed down in prices. And I know that I can get fruit and veg for like 10p. That was £1 something at the beginning of the day. And I love to go to go to the market.
True.
Go to the market. I mean, if I lived in Zimbabwe, I would be heading over to Mbare. Like, I don't see why I should go into Bon Marché to buy fruits that somebody else went to get from Mbare. It's the same stuff. The only difference now is it's now been packaged to look pretty. But when you get home, guess what you're going to do with the package? Put it in the bin.
True.
So why pay for packaging? Go to a fruit market, but really eat what you can afford. If you can afford organic, obviously do that. If you can't, do the best with what you've got.
Okay. So on the tea, you said a tea bag in water. Do you put sugar, milk?
So I think a lot of people really can't stand tea without sugar. I personally don't drink sugar, but I know that a lot of people struggle. So try and have alternatives to sugar. So try sweetener, try honey, or try reducing. Remember I said I don't want to say never or you can't. Or if you know that you really like your tea and it has to have sugar in it, then you may have to reduce the amount of cups you have in the day. If you would rather have 1 cup with 2 sugars and you don't want to split them into 2 cups with 1 sugar each, then you have your 1 cup with 2 sugars and then you know what, the rest of the day I would rather drink water. So do what works for you and then gradually reduce if you can. And then with your tea, there are things that you can do instantly, like if you use full fat milk, swap your full fat milk to semi-skimmed milk or use unsweetened almond milk. And the amount of calories that you will cut just by doing that are a lot, but your tea still looks and tastes the same.
Okay.
So it's about small changes that are realistic. You don't want to wake up in the morning and stress yourself with, I can't do this, I can't do that. Food is for enjoying. You know, food is what it brings us together. Don't you just love it when you have visitors and you sit at a table and you eat and you feast? Food is to be enjoyed, not to be dreaded. I don't want to be in a situation where I go to someone's house and I'm panicking over, oh, what are they going to bring to the table? I won't be able to eat it. It's going to, you know, take me out of my diet. No. If I go to someone's house on that day, what I would do is portion control. I'm not in charge of their kitchen. It's them cooking. But I am in charge of how much of that food I put in my mouth.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
So if they've served you, I don't know, rice, chicken, but you know, the whole table is full of stuff and there's some vegetables. The first thing I put on my plate are the vegetables. Once my plate is so full of vegetables, there is less space for the other things. And naturally, you cut down calories just by doing that.
Is there anything like too much vegetables?
With vegetables, I would say, I don't think you can have too much vegetables. Most people don't have enough vegetables. But what I do know is it's better to rotate your vegetables. So if you, every single day you're eating the same vegetable, you don't get the full benefits of your vegetables. So it's about, I mean, I was speaking to you earlier, and actually you were telling me that you guys have done a rainbow challenge before. So make your food look pretty by using different vegetables. So if you're going to have some green broccoli and some yellow peppers and some red tomatoes, and you know, try and make your plate look as colorful and inviting as possible. But I think it would be very difficult to say, oh, I eat too much vegetables. I'm still yet to meet a person that ate too much vegetables, but I know you can eat too much of all the other foods. That's why I put such an emphasis on your plate. First, put the vegetables. If half of your plate is vegetables, then you've got a quarter of your meat and a quarter of, let's say, your carbohydrates. So if you wanted to eat rice, pasta, spaghetti, salsa, whatever that you want, just make sure that it's a quarter. And the majority of your plate is filled with vegetables. So that really leads me to, like, let's say lunchtime. Lunchtime, I would have a salad or vegetables with meat, with a piece of meat. I try and avoid too many carbohydrates at lunchtime. I try and save them up because it's not, like I said, it's not that I can't eat them, but I know that they're higher in calories. So maybe what I'll do is I'll have them once a day, or I might actually have a day where I don't. It's not actually necessary. The more you play around with your food, the more you realize you can't go without certain things, and it's not a punishment or a denial. It's actually a decision. Oh, you know what? Today I don't fancy any salsa. I don't fancy any bread. I don't fancy any porridge. And the next day, I might wake up in the morning and decide, oh, you know what? I'll have porridge in the morning. Then in the afternoon, I'll have lots of salad with a piece of meat. And in the evening, I'll have lots of vegetables with some meat and with some, you know, some beans. Beans are a really good source of protein as well. So it's more about decision making rather than a diet plan, you know. Yeah.
We have a question in the group. Mabel, do you want to say what?
Yes, I thank you very much, Tatenda, for the very informative session. Listening to you saying like what you eat for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner, can I say I'm right when say like you trying to reduce your carbs in a way?
So what I'm trying to reduce are foods that are high in calories, because the recipe for weight loss is definitely the less calories you eat and the more you burn, that deficit creates weight loss. So it's about reducing your high calorie foods and filling your plate with lots of low calorie foods. And you're absolutely right, Mabel. That does mean we know that carbohydrates are higher in calories. So you try and reduce them so you don't have too much of them, but you don't cut them out.
Okay.
Yeah. The same way I know that chocolate is very, very, very high in calories, but I might not cut it out. I might just have it once in a while because I know that if I eat a bar of chocolate, I've probably eaten my whole calories for the whole day. And anything else I eat after that is just piling on the calories. But you're absolutely right. Cutting down certain carbohydrates can help to reduce the calories. And on that point, I want to make it a point that not all carbohydrates are the same. So you'll find that you have what's called complex carbohydrates. So you'll find that if you're going to eat, let's say you're going to eat sadza, you know, you've got the brown version, you've got the white version. They're both carbohydrates, but very different. Brown rice, white rice, very different. Then you find things like butternut or pumpkin, very low in carbohydrates, but still very good for you. Sweet potatoes. So choose your carbohydrates. It's about that decision making again, that if I'm going to eat a pumpkin, it's carbohydrates. So in the morning, if I wake up and I think I want to eat a pumpkin, it's carbohydrates, but it's one ingredient. I can also eat bread, but it's not one ingredient, is it? Remember what we said. If you have to go to an ingredient list, then you already know that that's less beneficial than something you can look at clearly and see what it is. Yeah?
Yeah.
Mabel, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Yeah, thank you very much.
Nancy's
You're
got a
most welcome.
question as well.
Okay.
Oh, you're muted, Nancy.
Okay, thank you, Tatenda, for sharing your story. I must say it's quite relatable and very doable, actually. But I just wanted to find out from you. Did you say you lost 25 pounds or 25 kgs? And how long did it take you to do that?
Thank you, Nancy, for your question. May I say, I'm really glad that it's relatable. So I lost 25 kgs.
Okay.
That's 55 pounds and about 4 stone in weight. So depending on what matrix somebody uses. So it's 25 kgs. If you say how long did it take, sometimes I'm not too sure. I say that because I think once you fall in love with eating healthy, you feel so good that a scale is not really essential. You actually don't care. I just love eating healthy. I literally walk around my house, and I'm actually going to talk about it, the family side of things in a minute. But I actually walk around my house boasting about how good I feel because I've had a whole day of not eating rubbish. I know that people in my house get fed up, but I feel so good that really, like, stepping on a scale. I used to step on a scale when you remember back in the day when I was like on those fad diets, trying to lose weight. I need to see if it's working. I need to see. But once you fall in love with the idea of just loving yourself through healthy eating, I tell myself, you know what, this is my body. I'm just not going to put rubbish in it. I think at some point, I probably didn't really care about the scale. I used my clothes. My clothes would tell me a story. What I do know is I learned a lot in 2018 about food. And I learned a lot about, I did a 90-day challenge. And on that 90-day challenge, I got to something like day 36 and I gave up and I ate really badly for about 5 days. And then I wanted to count to day 1. And I remember a very good friend of mine, and I think this is the thing that was like a light bulb moment for me. My friend said, you don't go back and count day 1 because psychologically you tell yourself that you're a failure. Psychologically, you tell yourself that every time you have a downfall, you have to start all over again. But actually that's not the case. When you forward something, I mean, just think about your everyday life, yeah? You're trying to do something, you mess up. You don't go back to being born again. You don't start from day 1. You don't become a baby and start your life all over again, yeah? You carry on. So if you're on a diet and you fall off the wagon, why should you have to count from day 1? I already did the 31 days. I did them. So why should I have to count from day 1? And I carried on. And from then I realized that This journey was going to be up and down. I'm not even going to say to you that I don't binge eat at some point. Sometimes I can't be bothered, and I will have a day or two where I just eat anything. I'm a woman. I have a menstrual cycle, and at some point, my emotions get the best of me, and I want to eat some ice cream. A little bit, a little too much, and I will do that. But because I no longer feel guilty, I don't feel bad when I have a bad day or 2 days or 3 days, because I know I don't have to count from day one. But because I don't feel bad, I can easily pick myself up and continue. Because I know that life is, be realistic. If I mess up at work, yeah, sometimes I mess up at work. Sometimes I'm not as attentive to my children as I should be. I don't put them back in my, womb and say I'm going to like bear children again and start again. I just tell myself, you know what? I haven't been the best mom lately. We pick up. I haven't been the best wife. We pick up. I haven't been at my best at work. We pick up. I haven't been that great with healthy eating. I pick myself up. So I think, to answer your question, I think I realized how much weight I'd lost after maybe like a good year or so. But in that year, I promise you, there were times when I lost 10 kgs and then I put on 3, and then I lost 5, and then I put on 1, because life happens.
Yeah.
Life happens. And like I said, I already know from my school days when I was at boarding school that I'm an emotional eater. When something gets to me, I have never understood people who say, when I'm stressed, I lose so much weight. I'm like, you're so lucky. When I'm stressed, I put on weight. I do, because like I said, I know that my emotions get me to eat. When I'm celebrating, I like to eat. When I'm down, I also like to eat. So now I choose what it is that I celebrate with, and I choose what it is that I comfort myself with. But sometimes life gets the best of me.
Thank
this
you
is
for that.
very interesting. And I think we'll have many questions later, but we'll let you finish first so that we get as much as we can from you, and then we'll get the questions later, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned
So
something about the
So
family.
as I'm family, yeah. So just to go back to being, talking about the family. This is not just, when I say family, I don't actually just mean your immediate family, whether you've got husband or children. I mean the people that surround you, whether they be your friends or your family or your work colleagues, those who are very close to you. Make sure that you own your story and you tell them what you're trying to do so that they can support you. There is no shame in saying, guys, I am trying to lose some weight. I'm trying to lose healthy, so help me out. Because it's hard to eat vegetables when the people around you are eating pizza.
Yeah.
And you haven't got to that place where it's easy to say no, especially right at the beginning. Like now, I bought a pizza for my children on Friday. I didn't want it. I carried on eating whatever it is that I want that makes me feel great. But the first days I would struggle, and I would feel like these vegetables are a punishment, because I hadn't really had that full change of mindset. So it's really important to recruit the people that are near and dear. And just to talk more specifically about my own family, I realized that it's me that does most of the cooking. So actually, when you're cooking, consider the fact that as much as you want to lose weight, let's say, and be healthy, make your food so tasty that even the family also wants to eat it without even knowing that they're eating healthy, And when it comes to cooking, I'm very careful with what I put in the food. So if I'm cooking for my family, let me just talk of a very basic meal. Let's say I'm cooking rice and beef stew, yeah? So I've noticed that a lot of people put butter and oil in rice. Those are not really necessary ingredients. Rice, salt, water, that's enough. You don't really need butter. You don't really need oil. It's just things that I actually ask myself, why do we do that? I can't even think of an answer, to be fair. I think it's just habit, or it's now that I have it, you know, now that it's in my fridge, I'll just put it in anyway, but it's not necessary. And when you're cooking, it's very important actually to have a decent pan, you know, pot that doesn't stick, so that it requires less oil when you're frying your meat. And then use herbs and spices to flavor your food over things like all-purpose seasoning, because did you know that it has a lot of sugar in it? All-purpose seasoning has loads of sugar in it. Look at the ingredients list. I use herbs and spices for the point that if it says paprika, it's one ingredient. If it says chili, it's chili. If it says cumin, it's cumin. If it says, I don't know, any spice you can think of, it's the ingredient. The minute you have 10 things listed, you're in trouble. It's got sugar, it's got starch, it's got oil, it's got, you know. So flavor your food, but with things that don't add calories. And, you know, things like, I'm going to get in trouble with whoever makes Royco, but, you know, things like Royco and stuff, once in a while is fine, but actually it's full, do you know, it's a starch. So, you know, you might as well be baking your meat, because you're putting, you know, it's like a flour type thing that you're adding in your meat. So try and keep your meals really simple, without adding a lot of unnecessary stuff. We actually think that cooking is adding lots of things so that, yeah, people can really see that I'm cooking. But actually, all that stuff that you're adding, you're literally piling on all these unnecessary things into your meal. So, and then I would make vegetables on the side, and it's about eating together. It's about educating your children. I taught my children that for you to gain your height, you need to eat lots of vegetables. Guys, my vegetables are running out because my children, they really want to be tall. I'm quite short, and my husband is kind of medium height. And they're like, oh, I hope I don't end up as short as mom. I'm like, well, you know what? Eat your vegetables and you won't end up short like me. So it's about educating your children. I am intentional about speaking to my children about weight loss. No, not really weight loss, about maintaining a healthy weight. I'm intentional about listening to them. Do you know that children get bullied at school for the size that they are? I speak from experience. In actual fact, it's a topic I would love to discuss. It's not easy. I came from Zimbabwe, where actually, yes, I was on the chubby side, but it was considered beautiful. I left Zimbabwe feeling so beautiful. And the minute I went to school here, I realized that what was deemed beautiful in another world isn't. And it really ate away on my self-confidence. I'm not saying that your children should aim to look like, you know, the skinny friends. But what I'm saying is listen to your child, because I found it very difficult to actually talk to my parents about my weight loss, because they were like, how are you going to have a problem with being big? You're beautiful. Because they had the mindset that they grew up with, that being chubby was beautiful. But mine had changed. And it's really important that you speak to your children and you listen to them about how they feel, about how they look, and you take it seriously and you help them through it. I know children that need to lose weight, and the parents will actually say to their child, oh, we've cooked fried chicken, but make sure you don't eat it. Eat this one. Honestly, love your child enough to go through it with them. You know, eat healthy food so that they lose weight. How are you going to put a child on a diet while you're eating ice cream and eating all of this stuff? And I'll tell you the hardest thing to do for a child is to come home completely deflated about how they look because they've been bullied at school. And they can't tell you because you are overweight yourself.
Oh dear.
The reason why they can't tell you, they love you too much to make you feel bad about how you look. So now they have no one to share it with. you know. So eating healthy and being a healthy weight, yes, it's for you, it's also for your children, you know, and they learn about stuff in school about weight and what it does, about heart disease, about diabetes, and they come home to children, to parents who are literally eating like they're trying to get diabetes, you know. Or if you're already diabetic, what are you doing to help the situation? How are you eating? If you've got high blood pressure, are you monitoring the amount of salt you use? Are you trying? What are you doing to try and help your own weight? You know, what are you teaching your children? Do you talk about food and a healthy lifestyle and exercise? It's just as important as all the other topics that we're willing to talk to our children about. Very important. The same way we need to give children talks on, let's say, sex education, is the same. We need to talk to our children about food, healthy eating, maintaining a weight, you know, a healthy weight, why it's good for you, where disease comes from, exercise. Very, very important. It's something very close to my heart because I've been through it, and I know that if there are any young people that are listening to this, they can relate. You know, if your child says, "This is how I feel about this," don't be dismissive and say, "Oh, there's no need." You know, when I was young, I wanted to look just like you. Well, times have changed and they've moved on. So what can make your child feel insecure now may not have made you feel insecure back then. Yeah.
Sandra's just commented that it's true that children are bullied because of their weight. So you've mentioned emotional eating, and as we know, these times are really hard. For an emotional eater, you know, is there anything that you think would help them to stay on the right track so that they don't quit? What would they do? What advice can you give them?
Okay. Thank you for that question. I think during this time with lockdown, there's a lot of stuff going on. I know people are lonely, are stressed. Some people have lost their jobs. Some people can't trade. You know, it's a very stressful time. And when you're an emotional eater, you're actually at very high risk in times like this. I think the first thing is to admit it to yourself that you're struggling, because unless you admit that you're struggling, you can't fix a problem that you can't see. So I think admit to yourself that you're struggling. And what I would say is find like-minded people, find somebody that you can talk to, find an accountability partner or even a group. If you know that you're too shy to then be engaging with the group, find a friend, someone that you can talk to, someone who you can keep accountable. In actual fact, while you're in lockdown, you can do a challenge with a friend or a group. So if you decide that this week you're going to challenge yourself to eating lots of fruits and lots of vegetables, and you send sort of pictures to each other, you're actually keeping yourself accountable, and you're actually keeping check of what you're eating yourself. Because when you look at your own photos, you then see how much you're eating. Because I'll tell you what happens with emotional eating. You don't plan what you're going to eat. Every time you walk past the kitchen, you eat. You find reasons to go to the kitchen cupboard, to the fridge. You don't actually realize, to be honest, how much you're eating. And if you were to say to an emotional eater, you're probably gaining weight because you're eating too much, they'll say, I don't really eat. Because they're not necessarily aware that they're eating all the time. They genuinely probably plan their meals, but don't realize how much they're eating in between. So the best advice I can say is admit it to yourself, know that there is a problem, and then only then can you come up with a plan on what you can do. Find something. I find that if my day is structured, I do better. Yeah. So plan your day in advance so that you don't wake up and you don't have a clue what you're going to do, because you head straight to the kitchen first. Have a day that's really structured, so you literally know that when I wake up, this is I'm going to make my bed and I'm going to have a bath, I'm going to do this, I'm going to clean this room. Maybe it's time to divert your attention to other things. I'm going to thorough clean room, one room a day. and you have a focus of something that you need to do. Then I'm going to stop for breakfast. Then I'm going to stop for lunch. So your meals are also planned. Planned so that you also know what it is that you're going to eat. And if you want to snack in between, make sure that it's a fruit, you know, but it's about routine, because routine gets us into habits. And once something becomes a habit, you're much better off than having to remind yourself of something all the time. So routine, absolutely essential. Have a routine, have an accountability partner, meal prep, have something ready all the time so that when you feel hungry, you don't eat a piece of bread while you're making dinner, but rather the dinner is already sorted. Yeah, it's already ready before you get hungry. Because how many people would admit that they eat something while they're cooking?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So by the time you finish cooking, actually, you probably shouldn't be eating the meal because you've already eaten. But we don't class that as eating because it's, oh, I just had a little bit while I was cooking. Yeah. So I hope that helps. There are so many groups. I run a group myself on Facebook. But there's so many groups that you can join. Find what works for you. You know, find a coach if you have to. Because with an emotional eater, sometimes it's actually so psychological that you need to talk. You need counseling through it. I know in our communities, someone will be thinking, counseling, what, for food? But I find that it can be such a depressing time. There are people who are really suffering a lot of anxiety, depression, the fear of loss, because we're losing our loved ones. And it helps if you can talk it through. I'm always happy if someone wanted to talk. It helps to talk it through. It really does. Sometimes just, I may not have the solution, but just being able to speak out loud can be half the battle won, just because somebody's listening and acknowledging that you have a distress.
Yeah, Tatenda is a group called Fat Loss and Fitness Lifestyle. It's on Facebook. And so we'll put it on our Facebook group if you want to go and find out what they're doing, and for that accountability as well. And yesterday we were talking about finding a buddy, a walking buddy, so you can include that as well. Just discussing what you are doing and getting that moral support. I think it helps you to keep going so you don't give up. So I think we'll just take one or two questions because we are really hot on a healthy lifestyle. We have a Zumba session coming up soon. So I think Mabel had a question, and we'll see if there's another question from Facebook, and then we can close. Very interesting session. Mabel.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, when you said like you eat like low fat Greek yogurt for breakfast, I've been like, I don't know, just there's the myth of these light things like low fat things that they are not really low fat. So you'd rather, if you're eating a Greek yogurt, know that you're eating a proper Greek yogurt with fruit. So I don't know what you're thinking in that, or if you're eating nuts, you know you're eating proper things. You're not eating a real nice fat, you know, like, you know, not the juice.
Yeah. That's a really good point, Mabel. The honest truth is, the reason why I eat 0% fat yogurt is not necessarily because it has low calories. Like I said to you, I don't believe in never and can't. Those words don't exist. So if you want to eat a full fat yogurt, definitely do that. Fat, carbohydrates, all of that stuff, it's not bad. It's about moderation. Yeah. Because nuts are actually really good fat for your brain. We need omega-3 for our brain functioning. It's all fat and it's good for you. Then you have fat, like if you're making chicken, you know, there's that white stuff, the fat in you, that's not good fat for you. We've got your monosaturated fats, your polysaturated fats. So it's about different kinds of fats, but without making it complicated. Nuts are whole. They are a whole food. And remember, it's that one ingredient thing, coming back to that. So nuts are good for you. They're one green ingredient. Yes, they're high in fat. You don't want to eat too many nuts, but actually you want some. They're good for you. So if you want to eat a full fat yogurt, definitely go for it. And even with fruits, fruits have fructose, which is a sugar. Can you have too many fruits? Well, yeah, if I ate like 15 mangoes a day, it won't do me any good. You know, so there's nothing I can say, oh, this, eat endless amounts. It's about moderation with anything. Some things are better than others. So with your fruits, you'll find that if you eat an apple, it has far less calories than, let's say, a banana or a mango or a pineapple. And berries are very low in calories. So it's about sort of learning your fruits as well. Take an actual interest in food, an actual interest. Even if you were just to Google how many calories are low fat calorie fruits, it would come up. Low calorie yogurt, it would come up. But it doesn't mean that you can't eat the full fat stuff at all. It's just about moderation.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Okay, you mentioned a bit about exercise. What sort of exercise do you do?
Okay, so I have a love-hate relationship with exercise. I love exercise if it's what I love to do. So you'll find that on the group that I run, we do various challenges, and some of them I know that I struggle more than others. I love dancing, so I do a lot of dance workouts. I love walking and I like jogging, no problem. But if you tell me to go for a run every day, it's probably not going to happen. But if you tell me to take a very long walk every day, well, not every day, maybe 3-4 times a week, I can do that. I love to do skipping challenges, but I am actually still quite a big girl. So I know that my weight has an impact on my knees. So it's not something that I can do long term. So while, other people are slim and flying away with their skipping ropes, my knees are telling me it's time to stop. So I definitely listen to my body and take a break. What your heart actually needs is just to pump. How you do it is not really that important. If you just want to put your favorite songs on and dance for 20 minutes, that is exercise. You just need to get your heart pumping, get yourself sweating, and you're good to go. Walking is brilliant. And I love walking because it's not actually just good for my physical health, but for my mental health. I love the fact that I can walk and I can listen to some motivational stuff or preaching or something, whatever it is that you're into. While I'm walking, it does me a lot of good. I've joined the gym a few times. I'm not really a gym person. I think I make too much of a fuss. It's just personally. I make such a fuss before I go out that, by the time I've gone out, an hour later, I could have done the exercise at home and finished, you know. Um, so find what you love. Try different things. Try skipping, try walking, try jogging, try dancing, try Zumba. Like, I'm going to join the Zumba. Like I said, I love dancing. It's my thing. So I do exercise, but the battle of weight loss is one in the kitchen. You can do all the exercise you want in the world. As long as you don't eat right, you are going to be so frustrated that it's not working. Exercise works. It gets your heart pumping. Yes, it burns some calories. It gets you toned so that you're not wobbling everywhere. But if you want to lose weight, you've got to cut down on the calories in the kitchen. Get your food right and then exercise. It's the combination of both. But I would say it's more like a 70-30 or 80-20 ratio, if you like.
Thank you. Tanaka, I think, is a question on that, the battle you're talking about in the kitchen. Would you want to unmute, please, and just ask your question? I think part of it has been answered already, but if you can just unmute, is she still there? Tanaka
Okay,
Ninja?
hi.
Hi,
I don't know
Tanaka.
if you guys can hear me.
Yes, you're loud and clear.
Hi, I'm just wondering, how do you actually handle trying to be healthy, but at the same time trying to cook for people in your family who are not necessarily trying to be overly healthy like you? Because trying to cook multiple meals really becomes a bit of a challenge, and in the end, you just think, you know what, I'm just gonna eat with everybody else. So, do you actually cook your meals, your own personal meals in advance? What do you do?
Yeah. Tanaka, that's a brilliant question, and I'm definitely your girl for that because trust me, in this house, as much as I said, you know, I cook these great meals and I try and get them engaged, it's actually easier on the days that they comply, but sometimes they don't want to. And that's fine. This is my journey at the end of the day. I can only do my best, but I'm not going to go to war with my family because they don't want to eat what I want to eat. So remember what I said earlier is failing to prepare is preparing to fail. If you don't prepare your own meals in advance, you are preparing to fail because the temptation of the meal you're cooking for them is too great. So what I do is I work a Monday to Friday job. So Sunday afternoon is my prep day. I make a fuss. Like I said, fall in love with loving yourself. Then you won't find it a chore. I honestly feel like it's me time. Sunday afternoon is me time. I will sit down, I'll plan what I want to do. I'll cook my meals, I put them in lunch boxes, and then I'm all set. So when I cook after work during the week, I'm not cooking 2, 3 meals because I'm only cooking for them, if that makes sense. And if, let's say, you know, if they're having something where I can eat half of it but not the other half, then, so if I've cooked, let's say, my own stew or something and it's in the fridge, but on the actual day they're having butternut with something, then I'll eat half, I'll eat what I'm able to eat of their meal, but I've got something in the fridge. And I find that because nobody wants to cook 2, 3 meals a day. One, the effort. Two, do you know how hard it is to think of a meal every single day? I mean, maybe it's just me, but some days I'm just like, I don't know what to cook.
Oh,
And then
it's
you
me
say to
too.
them, yeah, you say to them, guys, what do you want to eat? And they say anything. Like that helps, you know. So I would say love yourself so much that you give yourself a special day just for you, where you cook for you because you are so special and you are worth the effort. Yeah, don't see it as a chore, see it as a day to just be loving and crushing on yourself. That's when I'll do my mask on my face, I'll do my nails, I'll prepare my food. I don't just do it thinking weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. I do it thinking body, mind, and spirit. This day is all about me, preparing for me. Um, and then I have my stuff in the fridge and it's all ready. Yes, once in a while, you know, I will eat whatever they eat. If it's healthy, I'll eat with them. If it's not, I'll eat my meals. And here and there, I might decide, yeah, you know what, family time, let's just eat the same thing. But one day never killed anybody. It's fine. It's one day, you know. But it's not a day. It doesn't just happen to me. I purposely decide that today they're having this and I choose to have it also. It's not just, you know, I can't be bothered, so I'll just eat it too. Because that doesn't feel good inside because it feels like a failure rather than a decision. Does that answer your question, Tanaka?
Yeah, it really does. Actually, it's Rutendo, but then my Zoom is always using my son's name.
Oh, okay. No, sorry, Rutendo.
I
Okay,
actually
yeah, that's
wanted to
very
see this
helpful.
a ninja, written Tanaka ninja.
Yeah,
Thank
that's very
you.
helpful. Thank you.
Mm.
You're welcome, Rutendo.
Thank you so much, Tatenda. And ladies, you can agree with me that this is a very big topic. It's something that we needed to address, and we need to always address. As Tatenda says, you know, prepare and then you won't fail. I can't remember how it goes, but yeah, if you fail to prepare, then you have prepared to fail.
That's
So
right.
beginning of the year, we have many resolutions, and most of us as Kubatana, we are aiming for a healthier community and starting with us. So we're doing that Walk for Health challenge, and Nancy is our queen for it. If you follow us on Facebook, you will see that actually there's a lot happening for us to join in as a community and just be healthy. So I would encourage us all to just engage on Facebook so that we get that body, those bodies that we need for our eating, for our walking, for any type of healthy lifestyle that we're trying to engage in. I encourage you to find somebody to do it with. And as Tatenda has introduced us to these small portions, I think all of us are going to be watching what we are eating starting from tonight. And I like the approach that there's no can't, we can eat everything that we want to eat in moderation. And if we look at the basics that people used to eat, we will be healthy, and take other stuff as treats. I think we need to put everything in perspective. We've taken some things to be like the main thing when they shouldn't be the main thing. So thank you very much, Tatenda. And if I can actually say again, her Facebook is called Fat Loss and Fitness Lifestyle. If you want to just follow her on Facebook, she's also got a YouTube channel, Tatenda B, and an Instagram handle called Tate Healthy Eats. So you can find on whichever social media platform you want. Thank you very much for joining us today for this talk. And we want to encourage you to join us for Zumba. We've got Zumba on Thursday at 8:30 in the evening, on Saturday 8:30 in the morning, and today at 4 o'clock. So there are many opportunities for you to just find something that you can do to keep fit. You need to self-care, love yourself, look after yourself, and then we can look after everyone else. So it's Kubatana Together as One. I want to say have a very good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Yulita. Thank you, Tatenda. Quite